Testing, check one. All right, here we go. I feel like I'm taking a really big risk making this video. This is going to be a member of the State of the Channel series that I've been doing for a little bit now, where I kind of quarterly talk about stats and updates and the state of things and whatnot. But this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about some changes that I kind of want to make to this channel that I've wanted to make for a bit now, but I didn't really know how to go about doing it, and fear of change just kind of stopped me in my tracks. For any of you who've been watching me for a while, you'll know that summer is kind of the dead season for me. A lot of people stop watching because people go outside. It's too hot to be inside at your computer and watching YouTube or Twitch, and most people are on vacation, spending time with their family and doing things like going outside. However, through all of this, I have trends and I see stats and I watch things go up and down, progress for the positive and progress towards the negative. As time goes on, I see things changing. I've noticed many times where entire types of videos have just become unviable for anybody to create. I've seen shifts in the way YouTube functions, and I'm seeing that right now. But I realize that in order to stay viable on a platform like this, sometimes you need to shift focus. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is YouTube Shorts. So this past month was the first month in my channel's history where shorts surpassed videos. I've been looking at my historical stats, specifically for the last 30 days, so let's just say for June. Last year, while the overall stats were worse, the vast majority of them came from videos. Very few of them came from shorts. And now in the current year, my shorts to videos view counts are almost exactly even, with shorts having the slight edge and the advantage. While on the surface, this could be a good thing. Potentially my shorts could take off and do quite well. But statistically, they don't really show that that is going to happen. In fact, their views are getting worse, actively, alongside of the views on the vast majority of my uploads. Now, this is largely for two reasons. Dwarf Fortress player base is at an all-time low since it's launched. It's currently averaging 600 to 900 players, which, while that might sound kind of funny because it's the funny number, the actual reality of that is it directly impacts all of the traffic I get, which, because YouTube is very algorithmic and driven by unknown math behind the scenes, that directly impacts how my videos perform. And as YouTube sees my channel performing poorly, it then more or less cuts me off at the knees and says, good luck, because the next time there's an influx, I get less traffic. So now that I've covered that, and I've covered kind of how I feel that YouTube is changing, aside from the buttons becoming all circular and the disincentivizing of the subscription box and the incentivizing of making shorts and just purely going to the homepage of YouTube and looking at recommendations, I decided to try and combat this a little bit by starting the blog. Now, the most common piece of feedback I've gotten since starting the blog is, I really like the stuff you do. I want to watch it more, but YouTube never recommends it. So let's talk about the different types of content I make, what I'm working on, what I'm going to continue doing, the things that I'm stopping, and the direction that I want to go with my YouTube channel. So I upload a series called Notable Events, which is essentially just, here's a screenshot of Dwarf Fortress with some text on the thumbnail, and it's just a highlight from my stream. I stream for 40 hours a week, sometimes longer, sometimes just under 40 hours. And I also spend another 10 or so a week on the YouTube channel, editing, responding to comments, keeping up with things, and editing. I love doing this series. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very fun for me to be on stream and then have a thing happen on screen and go, yes, this would be a great YouTube highlight. Then I highlight it and people watch them. They've always performed kind of mediocre as far as my YouTube channel is concerned, but I know a lot of people really like these. I need to try and figure out a way to increase the production value on this series and try and make it better. Now, there's a few ways that I'm looking into or want to look into how to do this. One of them is by recording without audio and without my camera on the screen. So basically having a separate feed where I can go in and do a more professional looking and feeling edit after the fact, essentially trying to make the videos feel more professional. Now, the issue with this is we still have the problem of Dwarf Fortress stuff not surfacing as much in the YouTube algorithm, but we also have the issue of time. This is going to take a lot of time for me to increase the production value on a series like this. So it's likely, as I try to improve the quality, the frequency of the uploads is going to drop. The next series I want to talk about and the next style of video that I make are tutorials. Tutorials are a viable thing when there are new players coming into a video game to try and play it. And we're at a point right now where basically everybody actively playing Fort mode knows how to do everything, or at least everything that they need to do. A lot of the people that got into the game initially in December were very excited to get in and needed help immediately, which is why the first series of quick tutorials performed extremely well. But now that we're in a situation where there is less and less and less people coming into the game, and now that we're in a situation where there's less and less and less people coming into the game, traffic gets slowed on the tutorials because nobody needs to learn how to play it. Adventure mode is a lot more straightforward than Fortress mode, so me exactly replicating that format doesn't quite cut it. But the highlights format will probably work quite well if I can improve the quality of them. I still want to do guides. I do still want to keep doing tutorials because it's kind of what built my channel, and it would feel wrong to stop. But I need to improve the production quality and the entertainment value so that they're watchable on their own as entertainment without the need to learn how to play the game. Right now, they're pretty scrappy. They're very quick. I put them together in a very short period of time. And at this point, often the feedback that I get is just pseudo-negative sarcasm, which is kind of underwhelming and very disheartening. I need to figure out how to work around these problems for the tutorials and the highlights going forward. The next thing I need to talk about is the Let's Play conundrum. Gotta clean my glasses. The next... Some of you might remember the... Some of you might remember the original Adpocalypse on YouTube. This was actually due to Let's Plays. When YouTube shifted the way its algorithm worked in 2016, a lot of channels died overnight because they were based on consistent views from their subscription boxes and long-running series, which was what performed well at the time. Let's Plays fit into that format, which YouTube has been punishing since 2016. And while I've had Let's Plays in the past that performed quite well, Weather Mountains is a good example, this is a very similar issue to the last two series that I mentioned, the highlights and the tutorials. If there isn't a large sum of people looking for a thing, they never surface high enough in the recommendations, especially when you get to episode 4 and 5, and getting people to notice series like this, regardless of how much effort I put into them, becomes an issue. If this sounds really dire, don't worry. I will be talking about the direction I want to go with this by the end of the video. I cover Dwarf Fortress. That's what this channel is known for. That's what a large majority of the people who subscribe to this channel have subscribed for. But because of the way YouTube works, and because of the focus that YouTube has now, a lot of those people aren't even served the content that I make. If you look at this right here, you'll actually see that the vast majority of the content that is viewed on my channel is from returning viewers. I don't gain a new audience as I upload new videos, which is what a lot of channels try to strive for. You upload a video, new audience members or potential audience members are served the video via recommendations, and that's how you grow your audience. Now, of course, people are always going to get tired of a channel as time goes on. That's just how it works. You'll watch for a bit, and then you'll get bored, and you'll watch something else, and maybe you'll come back, or you won't, and you'll unsubscribe. Or you'll just forget that you have a YouTube account and, I don't know, go start a farm and buy a cabin in the woods, which I kind of envy. But because I'm covering such niche games, it becomes even more difficult for me to do that, even as I increase the quality. So I kind of want to see if I'm capable of increasing the range of the topics of my videos. As an example, I look at people like Ambiguous Amphibian, I look at people like Mini Minuteman, and I look at people like Mandalore Gaming and people who are building big, large, scripted, high production quality videos. And I've always had this problem. I'm an absolutely terrible writer. I'm an okay editor, and I'm trying to improve. Same with my writing. It's part of the reason I started the blog, in fact. I've always had a very specific focus on certain types of video games, traditional roguelikes and colony builders, Dwarf Fortress, and games like Dwarf Fortress. Unfortunately, that's a very narrow window. If I can start moving into broader topics surrounding those kinds of games, I have a feeling I can push this channel to greater heights. Now, you might be wondering, why do you want to do this? You have an audience, you're successful, and you have a good streaming career. Yes, this is true. However, in order to maintain that streaming career, I need this YouTube channel to succeed. I can't have these greater and greater dips as time goes on and Dwarf Fortress becomes more and more of a known quantity. The era of uploading a getting started guide for Dwarf Fortress and getting 1 million views is kind of over, at least for the time being. One of the ways I'm hoping to achieve this is I've gotten together a Discord group. This is some of my most dedicated, longest time followers and people who just watch a lot of my work. And I'm using that as a form of getting direct feedback on the content that I make. Hopefully, if everything works out, I will be using that as a way of sending off scripts, early edits, and hopefully getting feedback that is helpful that can build me in the right direction. So, to recap, what is changing? Tutorials are going to stick around, but probably be longer and less frequent. I want to increase the production value on the highlights and make more of a narrative content with them and less of a scrappy, cheap highlight. I want this YouTube channel to succeed, and I want this YouTube channel to flourish. The current path that I'm going down is one of inevitable drying up and failure, and I don't want that to happen. YouTube is pushing shorts. That's the only traffic I really get to the YouTube channel that's notable these days, and the videos often underperform, and it takes me longer to make them than I make back in revenue, because when a video super underperforms, it drags the rest down with it, because if a video doesn't get recommended to new audience members, then your current audience members get recommended less. And this is a net negative to the long-term health of a channel and the sustainability of a channel. I don't get any recommendations or traffic to my Twitch channel organically. I very rarely get rated. I don't have a huge network of people that support me on Twitch, largely because of how unique my content is. The massive majority of people who have streamed Dwarf Fortress in the past, outside of a few gems like Quill18, I love you, and various other people who come in occasionally, it's largely dead these days. It's back to where it was. It's me and a handful of hobby streamers, and I'm so happy that those hobby streamers are around, and I support them as best I can. But me, myself, the person who is generally at the top of the category, I don't get a lot of new traffic these days. The traffic I do get comes from this YouTube channel, mostly. And in order for my long-term success to continue on the Twitch channel and the streams, I need this YouTube channel to succeed in the long term. That is my goal. That is my hope. That is my desire. The stuff that's sticking around, highlights, tutorials, Dwarf Fortress news, interviews with indie developers and Zack and Tarn whenever they're available, and Future of the Fortress. Those aren't going anywhere. I like Dwarf Fortress and that ain't stopping. But in order for me to succeed in this channel, the content around that needs to increase in quality. Of course, the staples are Future of the Fortress and DF news. Highlights are secondary. Tutorials are secondary at this point until the next big influx. And I want to start creating better content. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, part of the way that I am increasing the quality of my writing is by writing on my blog. I've also started writing down notes and journaling a little bit, but that's besides the point. That's more of a mental health thing, to be honest. But it all helps. It's something that I'm extremely underpracticed in. I failed English and have never taken any writing courses. In fact, I almost failed spelling in elementary school. So because I'm a big idiot, or just bad at studying, it's taken a long time of me being a grown-ass adult to realize, man, I should improve my handwriting. And also I should get better at writing. I should also get better at researching, and I should get better production value. I see this as a positive thing, but it's still a big risk. If you'd like to help me continue this journey, the best way to do that is going and following my newsletter. It's free and it doesn't cost you anything. It's just simply an email. If you would like to support me via my blog, you can do that by signing up to one of the premium tiers where you'll get extra stats once a month as well as some behind the scenes stuff whenever it happens. I'll also probably throw up pictures of my plants occasionally or a camping trip. Unlike Patreon, I do get 100% of the revenue that goes up on there. I'm just paying for hosting, which currently is about $25 a month. So if you want to throw something into the tip jar on there, just note that I'm getting all of it with the exception of credit card transfer fees, which are like pennies on the dollar. I think so far after gaining 10 members, I owe 19 cents. So I think that's okay. I can eat that. It's way better than the amount that Patreon is taking. And if you have any feedback, ideas, or thoughts on this potential new direction that I'm aiming for with this YouTube channel, let me know down in the comments section. I'd love to hear it. And if you'd like to see the current preview of the members only post for my blog, there's a link in the description. If you're interested in signing up, there's another link there's another link leading to the launch party discount, which is a 15% discount off of one of the tiers. Of course, if you decide to subscribe at the cheapest tier, you can get your first month free. If this interests you, let me know. Sign up. If you're not interested, that's okay. It is what it is. Just watch the videos if you want to, or don't if you don't want to. And regardless, I hope to see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and stay hydrated.